The First Step by Leo Tolstoy, Chapter 3. The teaching that personal effort is not needed for a man to reach spiritual perfection, that there are other means to it, is the reason the striving for a good life has weakened, and the reason the order a good life requires has been abandoned. The great mass of people who accepted Christianity only in its outward form used the change from paganism for their own convenience. The pagan virtues, they reasoned, were no longer required of a Christian, so they freed themselves from those virtues, and with them from any need to struggle against their animal nature. People who stopped believing in that outward Christianity did the very same thing. In place of outward Christianity, they hold up some supposed good cause accepted by the majority, serving science, serving art, serving humanity. In the name of that supposed good cause, they excuse themselves from gaining, in order, the qualities a good life requires, and settle for pretending, like actors on a stage, that they live a good life. Such people who have left paganism behind without arriving at Christianity in its true meaning began to preach love of God and man without self-denial and justice without self-restraint. That is, they preach the higher virtues without the lower ones they stand on, not the virtues themselves, but only their likeness. Some preach love of God and man without self-denial, others preach humanity, service to people, without self-restraint. This preaching flatters man's animal nature, while seeming to lift him into the highest moral spheres, because it releases him from the most elementary demands of morality, demands the pagans stated long ago, demands true Christianity never rejected but made stronger. So the preaching was welcomed gladly, by believers and unbelievers alike. Just the other day, the Pope's encyclical on socialism came out. After refuting the socialist claim that property is unlawful, it says plainly, no one certainly is obliged to help his neighbor out of what he needs for himself or for his family, nor even to give up anything of what propriety and decency require of him. No one, indeed, should live otherwise than custom demands. That passage comes from St. Thomas, but when the demands of necessity and propriety have been met, the encyclical goes on, it is the duty of everyone to give what remains to the poor. So preaches the head of one of the most widespread churches of our day. And side by side with this preaching of egoism, which tells you to give your neighbor only what you don't need yourself, love is preached, and Paul's famous words on love from the 13th chapter of 1 Corinthians are quoted again and again with great feeling. The teaching of the gospel is filled from end to end with demands for self-denial, with reminders that self-denial is the first condition of Christian perfection. Whoever will not take up his cross, whoever will not leave father and mother, whoever will not lose his own life. Despite all this, people assure themselves and each other that it is possible to love others without giving up anything they are used to, or anything they consider proper for themselves. So say the false Christians. And exactly so think, speak, write, and act the freethinkers, who reject not only the outward but the true Christian teaching. They assure themselves and others that without reducing their needs in the least, without conquering a single desire, they can serve people and humanity. In other words, live a good life. People have thrown away the pagan order of the virtues, and because they never took in the Christian teaching in its true meaning, they never accepted the Christian order either.